This time on Ding Dong Games. In a shock twist, I've decided to return to Pokemon Fire Red Omega. This game was its channel's origin, and it's going to be a trip down memory lane. Can I finally beat Fire Red Omega with the Extreme Nuzlocke Rules? Only one way to find out. It's been a while, but I'm back in this game. The nostalgia's real. Last time I did an Extreme Nuzlocke in Fire Red Omega, I made it all the way to the post-game champion. Then lost. Damn. So close. I felt like playing this game again all of a sudden. And in fact I've got some unfinished business is all the reason I need to attempt one more final Extreme Nuzlocke run. In case you don't know what an Extreme Nuzlocke run, it's a Nuzlocke mode but with extra restrictions. Shift mode is on, no items from back during battle, the standard. But also, I will be level capping myself for every single rival, boss battle and gym battle, preventing me from overleveling at all. This is not for the faint of heart and will require knowledge and skill to pull off. So with these rules established, let's start the run off straight away. Will I finally complete the Extreme Nuzlocke? Let's go! So once again by popular vote I pick Elekid as my starter. Though to be honest this is arguably the best one to use for an Extreme Nuzlocke anyways. Smoochum may be stronger, in the rival having Jinx as his starter is terrifying, but Elekid is really good early on. It makes the early game much more manageable. Luckily this one had a bold nature with really good IVs. Physical attacks are kind of useless on Elekid late game, so yeah, it's a good nature. Anyways, destroy Smoochum in the first battle, it's not a threat. Yet. Carry on until I get access to the Pokeballs, then go to catch my starting team, which will be very important. This can matter for the first gym, very much. Oh yeah, the level cap will start off at level 9 for the first rival fight. The first 5 Pokemon I catch are Rattata, Hoothoot, Swablu, Shelder and Ralts, rounding out my team. Overall, this could have been better, but is workable regardless. Ralts is very powerful once it evolves. So now I train up my team to level 9 then challenge the rival. As long as you can handle the Smoochum, he's fine. The combination of Elekid plus a water type can easily counter the Smoochum as it literally only spams an ice type move. So that's done, time to proceed to the first gym. Oh yeah, one thing of note, in this run I will be allowing the use of gift Pokemon because honestly I feel like they were intended to be used by the developer, so I will consider them to be free Pokemon. Also the use of these gift Pokemon does make the Nuzlocke less RNG reliant. Without these gift Pokemon you might be completely screwed for the first 2 gym badges if you get unlucky and get bad encounters, which is a bit unfair. RNG does kind of suck. For example, if you don't catch any water or grass types because you got unlucky, well, I guess you're just screwed for Brock, you've pretty much auto-lost, so that's kind of unfair. The only restriction is that I can only use one gift starter in my party at a time, as technically your rival also uses a starter Pokemon later on. So I take this free Treecko which will be used. Then in the forest I add an Oddish, which is very good for the first gym. Nice. I won't bother showing the battles in the forest as most of the normal trainers are easy enough. I'll only show them if I had any challenges along the way. Then the last Pokemon I get before Brock is this wild Sunkern, which is very useful as you can get the Sunstone. Then the rest of the Hoenn starters also as gift Pokemon. Sunflora can be insanely strong before the first gym, especially with Mega Drain, even though mine had an adamant nature. The fact I've got multiple grass and water types means I've got a great matchup against Brock, so I got quite lucky there. I grind to the new level cap then go to challenge Brock. I decide to lead off with Treecko purely to illustrate how you the viewer could also beat Brock since Treecko is a guaranteed encounter while Sunkern is not. You should have no problem beating Brock's first free Pokemon with Treecko alone. Jesus Christ, that was a clutch crit. Get Shrek'd. Vulpix can be a threat purely to how it abuses RNG shenanigans. Elekid is good at handling it, but you need to have a few Pokemon ready to deal with that Vulpix, so your grass types can sweep the rest. Once Vulpix goes down, any grass type can destroy the fossil Pokemon. Then you'll need to land 1 or 2 good quad super effective hits at Onix to wrap up the battle. Do be very careful as Onix is also a hacks machine. It can flex on you if you're unlucky. I beat it by using Treecko to outspeed it, by switching it in on the dig since I know that won't deal a lot of damage. And with that, that's the first gym down. If you use some strategy, this game is somewhat manageable. Get more mons as I move to Cerulean City, like this Electrike, I buy the Magikarp. Yes, I will allow Gyarados in this run, but to make it fair, I will not allow the use of Dragon Dance. You know why. But most importantly, Mount Moon, I know that the lower floors of the cave have rare Pokemon, so I used a Repel to get my encounter there. And I encountered a... oh baby, this is good, though it won't be usable for a while. At this point I became a bit anxious about accidentally overleveling, so I avoided some battles which ended up actually backfiring as I was at serious risk of getting swept by this damn Raticate. Damn it, because my level was too low for this point. It hit too hard and I had no choice but to sacrifice my Shelter. Goodbye Shelter, but to be honest, Cloyster wouldn't have been that useful late game anyways. That's my first loss. Luckily Oddish managed to stop this Raticate, but it was too close. Despite this one casualty, I eventually make it through Mount Moon and catch a Horsey in Cerulean City, one of my favourites. It's got an adamant nature which sucked, but oh well. I also get his Pikachu which didn't really matter at all. Now I've got to prepare for the next rival battle, and this time his Smoochum is way more of a threat this time, as it has Ice Punch. What I do is I replace my starter with a Marshtomp, as it can handle it better with a strong physical attack. Then start training up my team to the next level cap. It's a good idea to keep Mons around like Raticate as emergency fodder. Sometimes you will be forced to sack something to the rival's ace, but also Raticate can deal some damage as Smoochum has very low physical defense. If you're going to sacrifice a Pokemon, you might as well sacrifice one that isn't going to be that useful late game anyways. So with that, I go into the rival battle and Elekid handles his first few Pokemon quite easily, but a good strategy I use is to purposefully bring in the Marshtomp against the Abra, so when it knocks out the Abra it's ready for the Smoochum and can hit it with a strong physical attack, as switching it into the Smoochum is pretty risky. It can take a hit, then hit back hard with Mudshot and slow it down. Luckily I don't get unlucky and this plan works out, but it could have backfired had I gone hit by a critical hit or something. After that the battle is pretty much over. Time to prepare for the second gym now. Get the Johto starters, then annoyingly lost my Grovyle to the self-destructing encounter. Damn it, that always happens. Then catch this Tailo. I could challenge Misty now, but first to be sure I skip over to Vermilion City to maybe catch some new Pokemon. I get this Dunsparce. Now I pick a team to challenge Misty, grind up to level 23, which is really annoying as it's just under the level that Elekid evolves at. Man, Electabuzz would have been so good against Misty, but I'll have to do without it. This will be its final battle as an Elekid. Now I've got a really nice team to counter Misty, I challenge her. Elekid is a great lead, and I make sure it's right at the cusp of leveling, to make sure that it's as strong as it can be. Despite this, my starter is by far my most valuable Pokemon, and I won't risk it as it's too important. As soon as things start to get hot, I'll pull it out. It puts in a lot of work though, and only gets switched out due to confusion hacks. It does knock out a few of Misty's Pokemon, but Sunflora picks up where Elekid left off. Now I was a bit anxious about her Togetic, as my grass types aren't the best at handling it, but to my surprise I ended up paralysing that Togetic with Kirlia, because it triggered its Synchronize ability. Haha, get memed on. It's not really a threat anymore. But now that's done, her Ace Stormy is out, and this is where the real fight begins. No joke, this thing is capable of easily sweeping your team if you're not careful, so be careful. But because I managed to get the safe switch into Electrite, I can take a hit then paralyze it in return. Then once it's paralysed I can just use my whole team to gang up on it and slowly bleed it out. Misty is a big early game challenge, so taking her down is a big relief. Man, doing this with the Magpie sounds so much harder to do. But oh baby, now Elekid is evolving. The power. Man, I love these Omega starters, they're awesome. Next I've got to prepare for the next rival fight, but this time he'll be packing a Jinx. Oh god, he's packing heat now. I'll need to grind up Quilava as my starter and... oh, for god's sake, not again. Damn it, I'm scared of the Jinx. No choice but to summon Gyarados in attack position to deal with it. I need its strength. I've assembled a decent team for taking on the rival's team. When I say team for this battle, I'm really referring to just the Jinx, as the rest of his squad isn't strong yet. Now, I'm not going to leave my Electabuzz in with that monster as it's too valuable to risk. I left my Raticate in to face it as I was willing to sacrifice it to guarantee a win, which in games like this is sometimes necessary. It does land a big hit and... oh no, it froze my Gyarados, which was supposed to be my special wall, but to my surprise for some reason Jinx was only using Powder Snow and not Ice Punch. Is this like a glitch or something? Screw it, I'll send in my second sacrifice, Dunsparce, but thankfully it managed to deal with it. That's a relief. Well, now I'll just prepare for the third gym, which I know sounds very challenging, but I'll spare you the suspense. You want to know how to easily trivialize Lieutenant Surge? Well, I'm going to show you. Step 1. Lead off with Marshtomp. Step 2. Sweep. Step 3. Profit? I did take more damage than I would have liked, but it's definitely possible to sweep his entire team with just Marshtomp. I didn't, but I still managed to beat over half his team with it, leaving only 2 Pokemon left which weren't that problematic to deal with. Nice. Time to move on. Continue to build my arsenal. The Kanto starters are pretty important. Then I catch a few more Mons. Evolve Gardevoir, which is very important. Gardevoir is amazing, especially if you EV train it, which I have been doing. There are some trainers next to Vermilion City which do allow you to farm a lot of special attacking EVs, which is super useful later on. At Celadon City things get interesting, as there are several gift Pokemon available like Porygon and Eevee. There's also the game corner, but I'll make my one purchase there later on. These are all the available Pokemon I've got, so first of all I'll build a team to take on Erica. She's actually quite easy to counter for the most part. I lead off with Charmeleon, which I use as my starter, as it learns Flamethrower. It's a good pick. The main problem was that the Ludicolo, it abuses Rain Dance, and it had Thunder Punch. Oh man. Man, that did surprisingly little. But regardless, it is a big problem. I didn't want to risk Electabuzz, but I took a big risk and managed to paralyze it. One crit and it would have gotten knocked out. Thank God it didn't. I managed to bring in this Farfetch safely to destroy Ludicolo. I got this in a trade. It had an adamant nature and great IVs. Not to mention this thing got a big buff in this game. The next Blissey also gets wrecked in one shot. Nice. Great, now I just need to hit this Blossom and... Damn it! Charmeleon? No! Come on! Gardevoir's amazing though, as it puts in work with Ice Punch. But now all that's left is his Vileplume, which puts me to sleep. This is bad. I might have to sacrifice something else to it, especially as it triggered its special defense boosting berry. This is why I brought Raticate along. Even though it isn't that good, it is useful as like a kamikaze Pokemon. Unfortunately, it was not useful in this battle. Where's Sleep Clause when you need it? Electabuzz barely misses the final KO, but in a clutch move Farfetch comes in safely and finishes off the Vileplume. That crit may have mattered. I do have a stick item, which boosts the critical hit ratio. This battle started off really easy, but got really hairy afterwards. At least it's over now. I've got 2 casualties now, but they've done their part. Go to sleep. The next boss fight is against Giovanni, and I prepared by using Swampert as my starter, as it's damn strong here. Gardevoir easily takes out its first 2 Pokemon, but this Persian is deceptively troublesome. Also, a side note, I forgot that the level cap here is actually level 35 and not level 36. I thought it was level 36, so yeah. In this one battle, I accidentally cheated and gained 1 more level than I should have. In before, this whole challenge is now invalid. Though most people who do use level caps only use them for gym leaders anyway, so it's whatever. Anyways, the Persian is a threat. Swampert stops it as Electabuzz sweeps the rest. I then clear out the fighting dojo for a meme, and then get a fighting Pokemon, which I never end up using. But now I've got to challenge a rival again, and this time he's not playing any games, as the rest of his team is a lot more threatening this time around. I'll need to revise my strategy. The problem is I've got no proper counter for the Jinx. I did do some EV training on my Umbreon, so maybe it could take some hits, but it probably won't be enough. I brought Persian along purely to sacrifice against Jinx, as to be honest, I won't be using that anyways. If I have to sack something, it might as well be something that wasn't viable anyways. But I battle rival Green, and as always, Electabuzz zaps his lead bat. Now against his Flaffy, I miscalculated. I thought I could just flex on it, as I've got the Volt Absorb ability, but apparently in Gen 3, Volt Absorb does not prevent electric status. So this sucks. I was not planning for this. Gyarados could maybe handle the Jinx, but its Lovely Kiss is really frustrating to deal with, and while Umbreon is tanky enough to take some hits, it also gets put to sleep. Because of this, I got no choice but to sacrifice Persian, and though it landed a hit on its way out, it was way too weak to do anything. Thank you regardless, Persian. Swampert got outsped despite landing a mudshot, and god, this could have gone really badly for me. I had no choice but to sacrifice Swampert to guarantee the win, but somehow Swampert ended up waking up in 2 turns and destroyed Jinx. Phew, that was an ordeal, and the rival's only going to get harder from here on. I'll need to find better counters for that Jinx. And that counter is Snorlax. Jesus Christ, this thing is broken. You thought Dragon Dance Gyarados was overpowered? This is a similar level of overpoweredness, especially if you EV train it specifically for its special defense. It's absolutely insane, because special attacks are king in this game, not to mention Jinx is a thing. I catch this, and you'll see just how strong this is. It had a hasty nature, which is a bad nature. However, the thing is that Snorlax is so much better as a special wall anyways. You shouldn't be risking it against physical attackers regardless. With that done, I start to prepare for the next string of boss battles. What? No! In Self Tower, my Gyarados hit itself with confusion, then got hit by a critical hit. Though! Yeah, to be honest, without Dragon Dance, Gyarados wasn't that useful anyways. It was still pretty good, but not that overpowered. Clear out some trainers from Self Tower, backtrack to Fuchsia City to get this free Lapras, then go to Safari Zone to catch one more Pokemon from each zone. I get a Miltank, which unfortunately had a bad nature. I do get this Trapinch, which is awesome. I add the Flygon to my team, as it's really strong. In this game it learns Earthquake at level 45, and that is neat. Do not forget to pick up these leftovers, so important. Do some EV training like special attack and special defense, while also spending a lot of money in things like HP up. They are worth it. If the Pokemon that you're using it on is going to stick around till the very end, it's definitely an investment worth making. Now that I've trained a lot, it's time for the next boss battle. It's rival Green again, who was a threat not long ago, but this time I'm way more prepared. The battle starts off really easily as Flygon just throws hands at his team. I took a risk, but the jolly nature allowed it to outspeed Alakazam and wreck it in one hit. Now here's Jinx again, and this time I anticipated the lovely kiss, so I activated my trap card. Chesto Berry. It didn't even matter as I sent in my Snorlax regardless and it absolutely mauled this Jinx. Oh my god. That was an easy battle. Next I go straight for boss Giovanni, and this time I'm actually underleveled, which will make for an interesting battle. It also starts off easily as Gardevoir gets 3 KOs, which is crazy, but oh man, the Persian was once again a huge threat as Double Edge hits like a truck. Eventually I took it down, but I took a lot of damage in the process. The final Cloyster also could have finished off my Snorlax with a critical hit, but thank god I didn't. I really needed that Snorlax. This battle could have gone way worse, but overall I'm happy, there's no casualties. Let's go straight to the next gym. Gardevoir starts to pummel Koga with its brain power, but the Crobat was scary once it procced his attack boosting berry. Electabuzz should be able to outspeed it in one shot. Wow. That just happened. Whoa. Let's just not think about what might have happened there. Bold nature really came in clutch, Jesus. Wait, why did Fortress try to use Zap Cannon on my Electabuzz? It's got Volt Absorb. Weird, isn't it? Easy sweep now. Yay, now I can get the lucky egg. But no, I lost my Flygon to a critical hit Hyper Beam. This ain't it, Chief. Speaking of that, what do you know? Destiny Bonds is a thing here. It sure is indeed. Despite that loss, I make it to Sabrina. I make a few changes to my team like adding a Zangoose, but that didn't end up being necessary. The important part is I did some EV training on Snorlax, then brought TM Shadow Ball for it, and now I'm just going to show you what went down at Sabrina fight. Yes, this just happened. Oh lord. After that massive flex, I just prepared for Blaine's gym straight away. The notable new addition is that I add Blastoise to the team, and I EV train it. Its IV values were also really nice, so it'll be putting in work. I challenge Blaine right after, as I can easily counter him. Blastoise takes out the first 2 Mons. Gardevoir and Snorlax knock out some more Mons, then Lapras takes out Solrock in one hit. The remaining Magmar, however, was quite the threat as it was a mixed attacking variant, so Umbreon and Snorlax could not handle it as I had Cross Chop. Luckily, Electabuzz did not get critical hit and finished it off. Only one more gym to go. Clear out the islands and catch some more Pokemon. Damn it, I lost Gardevoir to a critical hit. That was unexpected, not good. But I add an Alakazam to the team as my replacement. I got this from my one purchase from the game corner. It got a modest nature, which is Pog. I've done some grinding and I go to challenge a final gym leader. Though to make this interesting, I'm actually underleveled here once again. This might be hard. Blastoise takes out the Flygon with Ice Beam. Lapras takes out Cacturne and Rhydon. But I was scared of this Tyranitar. Lapras might have been able to one-shot it, but I didn't want to risk it. Blossom was able to come in, put it to sleep, then take it out with Leaf Blade. So far so good. But oh man, for the last time, this Persian is such a pain. It spammed Hypnosis and put my entire team to sleep. I was in big trouble here, as even though Electabuzz managed to take it out, literally the rest of my team is asleep. To make this worse, the final Pokemon on Giovanni's team is a Swampert, one of the very few hard counters to my Electabuzz. This is really bad. Blossom gets outsped and goes down. Alakazam was just short and barely got KO'd. Look at my team. Am I going to lose here? In hindsight, I should have sacked something to the Persian instead of trying to frantically switch around it. I could have avoided this, but what happened here was crazy. For some reason the Swampert went for Hydro Cannon in Mist instead of, I don't know, Earthquake? But then I had no choice but to let Electabuzz die. I can't believe this. I was legit so sad about this. The Omega Starter are one of my favourite Pokemon, and I really wanted this to stay in my team till the end. But alas, I've got absolutely no choice. Obviously this is game over, right? Just look at the rest of my team. But no! Somehow I woke up instantly and won. Thank God for that. Thank you, Blastoise. I won, but at what cost? This loss was a massive blow, but as the Elite Four is so close, I have to carry on without my starter. I assemble a new team, then challenge my rival again. This is purely a warm-up fight. Snorlax isn't having any of this nonsense, as it almost single-handedly sweeps like a boss. I think I'll be needing this for the impending Pokemon League. The end is almost here, so we'll do some more EV training for the new additions, clear out Victory Road, which wasn't that hard, then prepare for the Pokemon League. To challenge myself, I set the level cap to level 68, which is pretty low. The Champion's Ace is 4 levels above that. But what's an Extreme Nuzlocke without some kind of handicap, eh? It's going to be a tense battle. Now that I'm ready, I go straight in. Time to finish the main game. Lorelai's almost always a mean battle as her level is pretty low. Electrode is supposed to be my Electabuzz replacement, and though it isn't quite the same, it's still surprisingly better than I expected. I EV trained it so it can still deal a lot of damage. Then Snorlax switches in and cleans up the rest, as no surprise, Lorelai's team is special based. Good start. Bruno's next, and wow, Blastoise is on a roll. Its special attack is way higher than usual. The Machamp was scary as I've got no good counters for fighting types, but luckily Farfetch was able to come in and put a stop to this. Phew, this could have gone really badly for me had the Machamp got a critical hit or something. The last two Pokemon were no threat. This is still a warm up. Agatha, however, is usually where the real challenge begins. Not really this time. That wasn't really the case. Leech Ninja is basically a free KO for me. Surprisingly, Electrode manages to destroy the Sableye, and for some reason, she sent in her Crobat next. Why did she send in the Pokemon that was weak to Electrode when she had other things she could have sent in instead? The world may never know. That was weird. Mischievous also wastes a turn going for a mean look. Seems like Electrode is doing a good job at living up to Electabuzz's legacy. Snorlax flexes on Hypno, leaving only the Gengar. Now, I know from past experiences in this run that this thing can use Destiny Bond, so I will not risk my Snorlax. It is way too important. Just put it to sleep, but damn it, that Power Hacks on Electrode is annoying. No, not Destiny Bond, piss off! Psych! Wow, that was actually pretty crazy, really clutch, but this Gengar's annoying. Eventually I managed to get a clean hit and destroy it. Be gone. Lance is last, and he can be tough. Oh snap, I was not expecting this to be the lead. Blastoise deals with it, but takes a huge hit in the process. I also take out Dragonite, but this is getting hairy. Oh man, now Gyarados is here. No, it's spamming Dragon Dance, and I've got no counter for this. Confuse it? Okay, now what? In a shock twist, it paralyzed itself with a Synchronize ability, then started spamming taunts? Wait, what? But that means wait, Earthquake is its only attacking move. Ha! I have you now. Whoa, this Aerodactyl is also scary, and it dealt way too much damage to Kingdra. Oh no, I've got no choice but to sacrifice my Kingdra to it. Goodbye, Kingdra. Oh baby, turns out we're going nowhere. The only remaining threat is a second Dragonite, and it did threat Umbreon and Snorlax, but Electrode managed to beat it in 2 hits. With that done, the battle's pretty much over. It's time for the main game to end. The first champion battle awaits me. I'm ready. Well, turned out I wasn't really ready, as I anticipated him to lead off with Crobat again. I was wrong. Man, one crit in Farfetch might have been wrecked. And there it is, the final boss of the main game. Now usually this thing would be absolutely terrifying, but with the special defensive Snorlax, nah. It could have been a threat, had the Psycho Boost been a critical hit, but man, considering my level, Snorlax is absolutely overpowered as anything. Metagross is the only thing here left that can hurt it, but Blastoise can just easily counter it. Well, there was this one tense moment when this Ampharos set up the +4 with Tail Glow, and even Snorlax was at risk of getting destroyed, but it pulled through. All that's left is for Kingdra to counter Houndoom, and for Farfetch to deal the final blow to Venusaur, and with that, the main game has been completed, and without any casualties, and I was underleveled. This was a wild ride though, and admittedly I did luck out. This challenge could have gone way worse so far. Credit rolls? Bro, we're just getting started. Now the real champion fight awaits us in the post game. I've got to complete the Extreme Lock once and for all. Time for the Sevi Islands. I make 1 or 2 changes to the squad. To make things more interesting, I replace Umbreon for that Larvitar that I caught in Mount Moon. This time I make sure to EV train it completely, giving it 252 in HP and attack, making this thing an absolute monster in the stats department. Honestly, for the most part, nothing notable happened on the Sevi Islands. Even the Team Rocket admin was easy enough. A few things did happen afterwards though. I caught the Stonfan, which will be useful pretty soon. The final challenge before I can rematch the Pokemon League and have a true final battle is for me to defeat these extra endgame trainers added in by Driano. They are self-insert characters and are damn strong. Don't let your guard down here. This guy uses psychic types and started out easy, but the last 2 Pokemon were way too close for comfort. I've got no idea how I didn't lose anyone here. Damn it, a Wild Wobbuffet, not Electrode too, come on fam. Now that Cerulean Cave is cleared, I have to finalise my team for the true endgame. I realise that there's an NPC who can trade Donphan for a Miltank, which I do. I know that I caught Miltank, but I usually make an exception for in-game trades. This one has amazing IVs and natures. But you know what? I decided to really shake things up for the true final showdown. I want this to be entertaining for me and for you guys also. Look, the reality is that Snorlax is way too overpowered as a special wall. You've seen it for yourself. It'll just end up single-handedly trivializing the champion, which isn't what you want to see. He won't even be using the Heracross in the post-game rematch, so Snorlax will in fact have an easier time sweeping. But Snorlax is still legal to use as it's never fainted yet. So what I do is I introduce a wild card to not only make the challenge more difficult, but to also make for a more poetic ending. Look, listen here, I miss Electabuzz. It's one of my favourite Pokemon in this game, and I want it here for the final battle. It's a Pokemon that I started off with, and it's only fitting for it to be here for the conclusion. I know that it's already fainted and technically it is deceased. What I'll do is at this one time, I will introduce a wild card. I'll sacrifice my Snorlax to revive my Electabuzz, a life for a life, to bring our boy back. Welcome back, Ding Dong. It's been a while. Look, I know one person will get salty over this, but you know what? This is the post game. I've already beaten the main game. Usually in post game, Nuzlocke rules don't really apply anymore. It's my own unique rule set, and this isn't even really cheating. I'm actually handicapping myself by doing this. I'm handicapping myself by not using Snorlax, because believe me, if I use Snorlax, which I'm absolutely still able to do, it will absolutely slaughter the post-game Pokemon League. You don't want to see that. Having our boy Electabuzz back in the squad is more fitting and will make for a more interesting finale. With that done, there's a few more final preparations to do before the finale. There are more endgame trainers in Island 6 in a special area, but I noticed from the ones in Cerulean Cave that they in fact have leftovers in their Pokemon. So what I do is I have my final addition, a Dusclops, use TM Thief to steal leftovers from my team. I do this a few times, so now I've got plenty of leftovers, which is exactly what I need for the final showdown. I went ahead and overgrinded for these trainers so they wouldn't be too hard. All that's left is to grind up my team to an appropriate level and return to the Pokemon League for the Nuzlocke to truly end, in victory or defeat. Now that I have a team of mostly EV trained powerhouses and leftovers to go around, I acknowledge that my team is really strong, stronger than the NPCs, because of the EV training, so the balances, and to make it more interesting, I set the level cap to level 93, which is pretty low considering the level cap for the final boss is level 99. This will make for an exhilarating final battle, and it's going to be a damn good way to finally end this challenge. Here's the final team. Just look at these EV train stats. With everything in place, it's time to put an end to this challenge, once and for all. This is it. Time for the epic montage. That was an okay start. I've got a feeling that won't be the last I see of Jinx. Wow, that was so much harder than I thought it would be. I misplayed hard against the Breloom, And man, did you see that Blastoise survival? Couldn't make that up. Also, the Magmar cameo was pretty nice to see. Man, Agatha has also upped her game big time. That Crobat must have been like Choice Banded or something. This could have gone really badly, really easily. My luck is on a roll in this Nuzlocke. This was easier than last time, but once again, I was at the mercy of critical hits. Just thinking about losing Electabuzz again gives me anxiety, but it's done now. I've lost Electabuzz once, I won't lose it again. Everything has led up to this moment, the true final battle. Let the Nuzlocke end. Now this is how you end the Nuzlocke. My starter against his. Time to prove which Omega starter is the best, once and for all. It's over. I did it. After so many failures, I've finally beaten Fire Red Omega with Extreme Nuzlocke Rules, main and post-game. What a journey this has been. Such a long and engrossing playthrough. I finally get to truly complete this nostalgia trip with a ROM hack. No joke, I did get a little bit emotional during the credits with the slow music. I've grown so attached to my Pokemon, especially my starter L-Kid, that I don't want this run to end. It's so long and so good and so fun. Just like in Renegade Platinum, an emotional roller coaster that went on and on, but now has finally ended. I guess you shouldn't be emotional that the journey has ended, you should be emotional that it happened in the first place. With that, this video is over. I don't know what I'll be doing next, so stay tuned for that. This is Ding Dong, signing out.